Commander Vorek's talons slammed his fist against the command console, causing the holographic display to flicker momentarily. "How many ships did we lose this time?" he demanded, his purple skin darkening with rage. 17, sir," replied Lieutenant Jakor, her voice trembling slightly. The human vessels appeared out of nowhere. They used some kind of cloaking technology we have never seen before. 17? 17? Vorex roared, his four eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of extreme agitation among the Draconians. "We are the most technologically advanced species in the Orion Arm. We have conquered 37 star systems. How are these primates outmaneuvering us?" The bridge of the Draconian flagship Eternal Dominance fell silent. No one dared to speak when Commander Vorex was in one of his moods. The massive view screen showed the aftermath of their latest humiliation, debris from their once proud attack fleet scattered across the orbit of Jupiter, Earth's largest gas giant. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" asked Captain Mira Zex, stepping forward with the sort of courage that had earned her rapid promotion through the ranks. Vorex waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Go ahead, Captain. Someone better have an explanation that won't make me jettison them into the vacuum." "Sir, I don't think we are approaching this correctly," Mira said, pulling up data on her personal screen. "When we first encountered humans 3 solar cycles ago, our intelligence suggested they were a fragmented species with primitive technology. But every engagement since then has proven otherwise." "Your point, Captain?" Vorex growled. "My point, sir, is that we have been fighting them like we fight everyone else. But humans don't fight like everyone else." Lieutenant Jakor nervously cleared her throat. "The data supports Captain Zex's assessment, sir. Human military tactics don't follow any patterns in our strategic database. They are unpredictable." "Unpredictable," Vorex repeated with a snort. "That's a polite way of saying they are insane. Did you see what they did in the Titan engagement? They turned their own transport ships into bombs. What species sacrifices their own vessels as weapons?" "A desperate one," Mira replied. "Or perhaps a brilliantly adaptive one." The commander paced the bridge, his heavy footsteps echoing against the metallic floor. The Supreme Council is growing impatient. They expected Earth to fall within a single rotation. It's been 37 rotations, and we have lost more ships than in our last 3 conquests combined. "Perhaps we should request reinforcements," suggested Lieutenant Jakor. Vorex laughed, but there was no humor in it. "And admit to the Council that the mighty Draconian Empire is struggling against a species that hasn't even colonized its own solar system. I'd rather drink reactor coolant." The commander stopped pacing and stared at the tactical display. Earth sat there, a small blue marble against the blackness of space, surrounded by a defensive perimeter that had somehow repelled the finest fleet in the galaxy. "Sir," said Mira, "I have been studying human history. It's illuminating." "Enlighten me," Captain Vorex said with obvious sarcasm. "What profound wisdom have you gleaned from these hairless apes?" "They have been fighting each other for their entire recorded history, sir. While we evolved through cooperation and hierarchy, they evolved through constant conflict. War isn't something they do, it's something they are." Vorex narrowed his eyes. "Go on. In the last 100 years alone, they have had 2 global conflicts they call world wars. Their weapons technology advanced more in that century than ours did in a millennium. And here's the truly disturbing part. They have nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, yet they always pull back from the brink. They know exactly how far they can push destruction." The commander returned to his command chair, tapping his claws against the armrest thoughtfully. "So what you are saying is—" "What I'm saying, sir, is that we awakened something terrible when we attacked Earth. We thought we were initiating a simple conquest. They think they are fighting for survival." A notification chimed on the main console. Lieutenant Jakor checked it, her eyes widening. "Sir, we are detecting anomalous energy readings near Mars. Something big is coming through." "Show me," Vorex commanded. The view screen shifted to show the red planet, where a massive distortion was forming in space. It started as a pinpoint of light, then expanded into a swirling vortex of energy. "What in the name of the eternal void is that?" whispered Jakor. "Unknown, sir," replied the sensor officer. "It's not matching any known FTL signature in our database." "Battle stations," Vorex shouted. "Prepare for possible engagement." The bridge erupted into activity as crew members rushed to their posts. Red alert sirens wailed throughout the ship. "Sir," called out Mira, "I'm detecting thousands of objects emerging from the anomaly." The view screen zoomed in, showing what appeared to be a massive armada exiting the swirling portal. Ships of various designs and sizes, but all bearing the unmistakable markings of Earth's united forces. "How many?" Vorex demanded, his voice suddenly hoarse. "Current count is at 3,000 vessels, sir." "And still increasing," Jakor replied, her voice barely audible over the alarms. "Impossible," breathed Vorex. "Their production capabilities couldn't possibly." "Sir," interrupted the communications officer, "we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet. They are broadcasting on all frequencies." Vorex straightened his uniform, composing himself. "Put it through." The view screen flickered, revealing the face of a human female. She wore a simple dark uniform with minimal insignia. Her expression was neither angry nor frightened, just determined. "This is Admiral Tessa Blackwell of the United Earth Defense Force," she said, her voice calm and measured. "You have had 37 days to reconsider your invasion of our home. We have spent that time preparing our response." Vorex leaned forward. "This is Commander Vorex Talon of the Draconian Empire. Your show of force is impressive, human, but futile. The Empire has conquered worlds far more advanced than yours." Admiral Blackwell smiled slightly, and something about that smile sent a chill down Vorex's spine. "You still don't understand what you are dealing with, Commander," she said. "Those weren't our defense forces you have been fighting. Those were just our border patrols. You wanted a real fight? Well, congratulations. You have got one." The transmission ended abruptly. "Sir," said Jakor, her voice shaking, "the human fleet is deploying into attack formation." They are targeting every ship in our blockade simultaneously." Vorex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The human ships were moving with precision that defied explanation, splitting into smaller attack groups and accelerating toward his scattered forces. "Send word to all ships," he ordered. "Defensive positions. Priority 1 is to protect the flagship." "Shouldn't we consider retreat, sir?" asked Mira quietly. Vorex glared at her. "The Draconian Empire does not retreat, Captain." "With all due respect, sir, the Draconian Empire has never faced humans before." Before Vorex could respond, the tactical officer shouted, "Multiple weapons locks." "They are firing." The view screen lit up as thousands of energy beams lanced out from the human fleet, striking Draconian vessels with unerring accuracy. Ships began exploding throughout the defensive line. "Return fire," Vorex commanded. "Launch all fighters." "Sir," reported Jakor, "our targeting systems can't lock onto their ships. They are using some kind of advanced jamming technology." The bridge rocked violently as the first impact struck the eternal dominance. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Shields at 60%. called out the defensive systems officer. "How is that possible?" demanded Vorex. "Our shields are the strongest in the fleet." Mira was studying the attack pattern on her screen. "Sir, they are using focused fire. Multiple ships targeting the same shield sections simultaneously. It's a coordinated attack unlike anything I have seen before." Another barrage hit the flagship, throwing crew members from their stations. Sparks showered from damaged consoles. "Shields at 30%, shouted the defensive officer. "We can't take another hit like that." "Where is our return fire?" Vorex roared. "We are hitting nothing but decoys, sir," replied the weapons officer. "They have deployed thousands of drone ships generating false signatures. Our systems can't distinguish between real targets and fakes. Vorex stared at the tactical display in growing horror. His fleet, the pride of the Draconian Empire, was being systematically dismantled by a species they'd dismissed as primitive just weeks ago. "Commander," said Mira urgently, "we need to withdraw now, while we still can." Another impact rocked the ship, more violent than before. The lights flickered and emergency power kicked in, shields failing, reported the defensive officer. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Vorex stood frozen, watching as his mighty armada disintegrated before his eyes. This couldn't be happening. It defied everything he knew about warfare, about the natural order of species development. "Sir," Jakor shouted over the chaos, "the humans are hailing us again." "Put it through," Vorex said quietly. Admiral Blackwell appeared once more on screen, still with that same unnervingly calm expression. "Commander Vorex," she said, "your fleet is crippled. You have lost over 60% of your forces in the last 10 minutes. I'm offering you a one-time opportunity to surrender." Vorex bristled. "The Draconian Empire does not surrender." "Yes, I know," interrupted Blackwell. "But perhaps today is a good day to start a new tradition. You have 2 minutes to lower your shields and power down your weapons, or we will destroy every remaining ship in your fleet." The transmission ended. "She's bluffing," Vorex said, but there was no conviction in his voice. "Sir," said Mira gently, "I don't think she is. Look at the scanner data. They haven't even deployed their largest vessels yet. What we are seeing is just their vanguard." "Commander," said Jakor, "we are receiving distress calls from 17 of our ships. They are reporting critical damage and requesting permission to surrender." Vorex collapsed back into his command chair, the weight of impending defeat crushing down on him. In all his years of service to the Empire, he had never faced a situation like this. Never even contemplated it. "Sir," pressed Mira, "what are your orders?" The bridge had grown eerily quiet, all eyes turned toward their commander. The only sounds were the warning klaxons and the occasional spark from damaged equipment. Finally, Vorex spoke. "Signal all remaining ships. Power down weapons systems and prepare to lower shields." "Sir?" Jakor asked, clearly shocked. "You heard me, Lieutenant," Vorex said, his voice hollow, "and open a channel to the human admiral." Moments later, Admiral Blackwell appeared on screen again. "Commander Vorex," she acknowledged. "Have you reached a decision?" Vorex stood tall, maintaining what dignity he could. "We will stand down our weapons, Admiral. But I want something in return." "You are not exactly in a position to negotiate, Commander," Blackwell pointed out. "Perhaps not," agreed Vorex. "But I believe what I'm asking will interest you. Before you destroy or capture my remaining forces, I request a direct meeting. I wish to understand how we so gravely underestimated your species." Blackwell studied him for a long moment. "Curiosity, Commander? Or are you gathering intelligence for your Empire's next attempt?" Vorex shook his head slowly. "There won't be a next attempt. Not after today. The Supreme Council needs to know what we are truly dealing with here. And I need to understand, how did you develop so quickly? Our intelligence said you were centuries away from the technology you are displaying now." For the first time, Blackwell's composed expression cracked slightly, revealing something that might have been amusement. "You threatened our homeworld, Commander. You should have done your homework on what happens when humans have their backs against the wall." The view screen went dark. "Sir," said Jakor, "the human vessels are taking up escort positions around our remaining ships. They are herding us toward Earth." Vorex nodded absently, still staring at the blank screen. "Captain Zex," he said quietly. "Yes, Commander?" "Your assessment was correct. We awakened something terrible when we attacked Earth." He turned to face her, all 4 of his eyes reflecting the emergency lighting of the bridge. "And now we must face the consequences." As the crippled flagship was escorted toward the blue planet, Vorex couldn't help but wonder what other miscalculations the Empire had made about these humans. And More disturbingly, what would happen when they started pushing beyond their solar system. They had wanted a fight. And Earth had sent the kind you regret asking for. Approaching Earth orbit, Commander, announced Lieutenant Jakor, her voice unnaturally formal. The bridge crew of the Eternal Dominance had maintained a tense silence during their escorted journey to the human homeworld. Vorex nodded, his attention fixed on the view screen. The blue planet grew larger, its swirling white clouds and vast oceans coming into focus. It looked so peaceful. How could such a serene-looking world produce warriors capable of bringing the Draconian Empire to its knees? "Status of our remaining fleet?" he asked, finally breaking the silence. 23 ships still operational, sir," replied Captain Mira Zex, checking her console. "All running on minimal power as ordered by the humans. They have positioned their vessels in a containment formation around us. Any attempt to break formation would result in immediate destruction." "And their fleet?" "Over 4,000 vessels now, sir. They keep emerging from that portal near Mars. Whatever technology they are using, it's nothing like our fold space drives." Vorex's claws tapped rhythmically against his command chair. "Any word from Admiral Blackwell about my request for a meeting?" "Yes, sir," said Jakor. "We received coordinates for your shuttle to dock with their command station. They will allow you and 2 officers of your choosing to board. Unarmed, of course." Of course, Vorex echoed with a bitter laugh. "They have destroyed half our fleet. What threat could we possibly pose now?" The communications panel chimed. "Incoming transmission from Earth Command," announced the comms officer. "Put it through," Vorex ordered, straightening his posture despite the futility of maintaining dignity in defeat. The view screen activated, showing not Admiral Blackwell this time, but a different human. This one was male, older, with short gray hair and deep creases around his eyes. "Commander Vorex Talon," the human said, nodding in greeting. "I am General Marcus Drake, Supreme Commander of Earth's combined military forces. Admiral Blackwell informs me you have requested a meeting." "That's correct, General," Vorex replied. "I wish to understand what happened here today." Drake's expression remained neutral. "You invaded our solar system without provocation. We defended ourselves. What's to understand?" Vorex felt his temper flaring but forced it down. "With respect, General, what we witnessed today goes beyond defense. The technology, the tactics, the sheer number of ships, our intelligence indicated your species was centuries away from such capabilities." For a moment, Drake was silent, studying Vorex through the screen. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. "Your shuttle is cleared to dock with Orbital Command Station Alpha in 2 hours. Admiral Blackwell will meet you there." The transmission ended. "Well," muttered Vorex, "that was informative." "You, sir," said Mira cautiously, "if I may, I believe I should accompany you to this meeting." Vorex nodded. "Agreed. Your insights on human behavior have proven valuable. Lieutenant Jakor, you will come as well." "Me, sir?" Jakor asked, clearly surprised. "Yes, your attention to detail may notice things the captain and I miss. Besides," Vorex added with a grim smile, "if the humans decide to execute us, I'd rather have my best officers die with me than face the Supreme Council's punishment for failure." "How thoughtful, sir," Jakor replied dryly. 2 hours later, their shuttle approached the massive human orbital station. It was an impressive structure, a series of interconnected rings rotating slowly to create artificial gravity, with extended docking arms and defensive arrays that tracked their approach. "Look at the construction," Mira whispered, peering through the viewport. "This wasn't built in 37 days. They were preparing for this long before we arrived. But how did they know we were coming?" Jakor wondered. "Our approach was completely cloaked." "Another question for our hosts," said Vorex as the shuttle automatically docked with a soft bump. The airlock cycled open to reveal 2 human security officers in dark uniforms, armed with weapons Vorex didn't recognize. "This way, please," said one of the officers, gesturing down a corridor. "Admiral Blackwell is waiting." The 3 Draconians followed silently, taking in every detail of the station. Unlike their own sleek, utilitarian designs, the human facility seemed almost wasteful in its spaciousness. High ceilings, wide corridors, even decorative elements like plants growing in recessed wall gardens. They build like they have unlimited resources, Mira observed quietly. After several minutes of walking, they reached a large set of doors that slid open to reveal a conference room. Inside, Admiral Blackwell stood beside a large table, along with 3 other humans in different uniforms. Commander Vorex, Blackwell greeted them. Welcome to Orbital Command. These are my colleagues, General Patel of Ground Forces, Director Santiago of Intelligence, and Dr. Akira Tanaka, our Chief Science Officer. Vorex introduced Mira and Jakor, then took the seat offered to him. The humans sat across the table, their expressions varying from Santiago's open hostility to Dr. Tanaka's undisguised curiosity. I will be direct, Commander, said Blackwell without preamble. Your empire made 3 critical mistakes when you decided to invade Earth. Would you like to know what they were? Vorex felt a flash of anger at her presumption, but nodded nonetheless. Please, enlighten me. First, she said, raising a finger, you announced your intentions. That transmission declaring Earth would submit or be destroyed gave us time to prepare. Standard Imperial protocol, Vorex replied. We always offer the chance for peaceful submission before conquest. Your second mistake, Blackwell continued as if he hadn't spoken, was assuming our apparent technological limitations were actual limitations. What your intelligence gathered was exactly what we wanted potential threats to see. Director Santiago leaned forward. We detected your stealth probes 3 years ago, Commander. But rather than destroy them, we fed them carefully curated information. We showed them outdated technology, limited space presence, and political division, all while preparing for the possibility you'd decide we were an easy target. Vorex felt a cold sensation spreading through his body. You knew we were coming? Not specifically you, Santiago clarified. But after confirming intelligent life existed beyond our solar system, humanity unified in ways previously thought impossible. We knew someone would eventually come calling, and we doubted they'd all be friendly. Which brings us to your third and most dangerous mistake, said Admiral Blackwell. You threatened our extinction. There's nothing more motivating for humans than an existential threat. I don't understand, said Vorex. The technology you displayed today, the sheer number of ships. It's beyond what any civilization could develop in just a few years of preparation. Dr. Tanaka spoke for the first time, his voice gentler than his colleagues. Commander, may I ask how the Draconian Empire typically advances its technology? Vorex blinked in confusion at the change of subject. Through structured research and development, of course, each innovation building carefully upon established principles. And how does your society view failure in this process? Failure is discouraged, Vorex admitted. Resources are allocated to projects with high probabilities of success. The Empire cannot waste time on speculative ventures. Dr. Tanaka nodded as if Vorex had confirmed something important. That's the fundamental difference. Human innovation thrives on failure. We try impossible things, fail spectacularly, learn from those failures, and try again until we succeed. When your forces appeared in our system, General Patel added, every nation on Earth diverted all resources to defense. We abandoned caution. Experimental technologies that might have taken decades to approve were fast-tracked into production. Concepts previously considered too risky or unorthodox were suddenly on the table. The portal you witnessed near Mars, said Tanaka, was a theoretical FTL concept that most of my colleagues dismissed as impossible just months ago. But with extinction looming, we threw conventional thinking out the airlock. Vorex looked at each of the humans in turn, disbelief evident in all 4 of his eyes. You are saying you developed all of this technology in just 3 years? Some of it was already in development, Santiago conceded. But yes, the majority of what you saw today didn't exist in functional form before your probes arrived. Fear is a powerful motivator, Commander, but hope is an even stronger one. I still don't understand, said Mira, speaking up for the first time. Our empire has faced resistance before. Other species fought desperately for survival, yet none achieved what you have. Admiral Blackwell's expression softened slightly. Captain Zex, isn't it? Tell me, in your studies of human history, what stood out to you the most? Mira hesitated. Your constant conflicts. The way your technology advanced exponentially during periods of war. Exactly, said Blackwell. Humans have been trying to kill each other creatively for our entire existence. We have gotten very good at it. But we have also learned how to pull back from the brink, how to rebuild, how to turn weapons into tools. When your commander declared his intention to conquer Earth, he didn't realize he was uniting the most experienced warriors in this sector of the galaxy against a common enemy. The ships, Vorik said suddenly. There were too many of them. Your production capabilities couldn't possibly. 3D printing, interrupted Dr. Tanaka. Another example of our adaptive technology. We developed methods to fabricate entire spacecraft hulls in days rather than months. When quantity has a quality all its own, you find ways to increase quantity. Lieutenant Jakor, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. What happens now? To us? To our remaining ships? Admiral Blackwell exchanged glances with her colleagues before answering. That depends on the Draconian Empire. Are they sending reinforcements, Commander Vorik? Vorik hesitated. Protocol dictated he should lie, should assure these humans that the full might of the Empire would descend upon them any day now. But what would be the point? These humans had already proven themselves far more dangerous than anyone had anticipated. No, he admitted finally. My fleet was considered more than sufficient to subjugate a pre-FTL civilization. The Supreme Council won't send reinforcements. They will assume we encountered unexpected difficulties but will ultimately prevail. And if you don't report back? Asked Santiago. Eventually, they will send an investigative team. But it could be months, even a year. The Empire is vast and Earth was considered a low-priority target on the frontier. Admiral Blackwell nodded slowly. Then we have time. Here's what's going to happen, Commander. You and your surviving crews will be detained humanely while we dismantle and study your vessels. The technology will help us prepare for the inevitable next encounter with your empire. And then? Asked Vorik. And then, said Blackwell with a tight smile, we are going to send you home. All of you. Vorik stared at her in shock. You are releasing us? Eventually, yes. With a message for your Supreme Council. General Patel leaned forward, his eyes hard. The message is simple. Earth is not to be approached again. Not for conquest, not for diplomacy, not for trade. Any draconian vessel entering our solar system will be destroyed without warning. But, continued Dr. Tanaka, any other species oppressed by your empire who seek refuge will find it here. We are establishing Earth as a sanctuary. Vorik laughed incredulously. You can't be serious. The Empire spans 37 star systems. You have one. Even with your impressive technology, you can't hope to stand against our full might. Admiral Blackwell's expression didn't change. We don't intend to, Commander. While you have been sitting here talking with us, 50 human fleets have already departed through FTL portals, heading for various coordinates in nearby systems. Impossible, whispered Vorik. You can't have that many ships. Remember what I said about 3D printing? Dr. Tanaka replied with a slight smile. And about how quickly humans can adapt when properly motivated. By the time you return to your homeworld, Santiago added, human outposts will be established throughout this sector of the galaxy. We have spent decades theorizing about how to rapidly expand into space. Your invasion gave us the perfect opportunity to implement those plans. Vorik felt like the floor was dropping away beneath him. What had the Empire done? They'd meant to conquer a single primitive world. Instead, they'd unleashed something unprecedented, a species with the technology, the numbers, and most terrifyingly, the will to challenge the Draconian Empire directly. The Supreme Council will never accept these terms, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then the Supreme Council will learn the same lesson you did today. replied Admiral Blackwell. Humans don't make good victims, Commander. We make terrible enemies, but excellent survivors. 6 months later, Vorex stood before the Supreme Council in the Great Hall on Draconis Prime. The 7 ancient members of the Council peered down at him from their elevated platform, their expressions ranging from disbelief to rage. "You expect us to believe this fantasy?" demanded Council Leader Charvex. "That a pre-FTL species not only defeated our fleet but has now established colonies throughout the sector?" "I expect you to believe the evidence, Counselor," Vorex replied calmly. The months of captivity among humans had changed him. He'd watched as they systematically dismantled draconian technology, improved upon it, and integrated it with their own designs. He'd witnessed their generosity toward captured crew members alongside their ruthless efficiency in preparation for expansion. "The humans allowed me to bring proof," he continued, placing a data crystal on the central platform. "This contains sensor logs, battle recordings, and most importantly, current stellar cartography showing human positions." Council member Traz activated the display, and the chamber filled with a holographic map of the sector. Dozens of points glowed with the unmistakable signature of human technology. "Impossible," whispered Traz. "They cannot have expanded so quickly." "They call it blitzkrieg colonization," explained Vorex, a term from their military history. "They don't establish full colonies initially, just armed outposts with minimal personnel and automated defenses. But those outposts are being reinforced daily." "Why are you telling us this, Commander?" asked Charvex. "You were defeated. By all rights, we should execute you for your failure." Vorex met the Council leader's gaze steadily. "Because the humans sent me with an offer." "An offer?" The Council leader's voice dripped with disdain. "The Empire does not negotiate with lesser species." "With respect, Counselor, they are not lesser." "Not anymore." Vorex activated another portion of the data crystal, displaying technical specifications of human weapons technology. "They could have killed us all. Instead, they chose to send us back with this message: leave them alone, and they will leave us alone." The council chamber erupted into angry shouts and denials. Vorex waited patiently for the noise to subside. "There's more," he said when he could be heard again. "They have already made contact with the Zolari and the Paraxians." This statement had the desired effect. Silence fell immediately. The Zolari and Paraxians were both species conquered by the Empire generations ago, and their populations kept subdued through a combination of military presence and technological suppression. "What do you mean, made contact?" demanded Traz. "Exactly what I said. Human vessels appeared in Zolari and Paraxian systems 3 months ago. They offered alliance, technology sharing, and protection from the Empire. According to my human captors, both species accepted." "This is outrageous," Charvex shouted. "It's rebellion." "No, Counselor," Vorex said quietly. "It's liberation. And unless the Empire wishes to find itself fighting a multi-front war against an adversary that develops new weapons faster than we can counter them, I suggest we seriously consider the humans' offer of mutual non-interference." Later, as Vorex stood on the balcony of his family estate, watching the 3 moons of Draconis Prime rise over the capital city, Captain Mira Zex joined him. "The council has been in session for 12 hours, she noted. "No announcements yet." "They will accept the terms," Vorex said with certainty. "They have no choice." "And the rebellion spreading through our conquered worlds?" Vorex smiled faintly. "The beginning of the end, I suspect. The humans showed us something I never thought possible." "What's that?" "That an empire built on fear has a fundamental weakness. It only takes one example of successful resistance to bring the entire structure crashing down." Mira leaned against the railing, looking out at the city. "Do you think they planned this from the beginning? The humans, I mean. Did they use our invasion as an excuse to launch their own expansion?" Vorex considered the question. "No. I think they reacted as their nature dictated. When threatened, they didn't just defend, they eliminated the possibility of future threats. by becoming the dominant power in the sector, Mira concluded. Exactly. In trying to conquer Earth, we awakened something far more dangerous than we could have imagined. Voryx turned to look at her directly. The humans have a saying that their Admiral Blackwell shared with me before our release. Be careful what you wish for. I don't understand. We wished for an easy conquest, another species to add to our collection. Instead, we got a fight we will regret for generations. As night fell over Draconis Prime, news began spreading through the communication networks. The Supreme Council had accepted the human terms. The Draconian Empire, for the first time in its 5,000-year history, had acknowledged the sovereignty of another power. They had wanted a fight. Earth had sent the kind you regret asking for. And now the galaxy would never be the same.